You're risk averse?
Maybe just a little teeny bit.
So you're saying don't embarrass people?
Yeah, don't say, Adora Svitak makes bad jokes with your family and is...
What's that?
I said, don't say something like Adora Svitak is a fan of bathroom humor. And
oh, something like that. No,
don't.
I wasn't planning on anything like that. So you go to school in Redmond too?
I go to an online public school, Washington Virtual Academies.
Okay. So one of the principles of organizing that I've learned, and it usually frames most of my discussions, usually though when I'm talking longer, I'm just doing a little introduction. I don't know how long it's supposed to be. There's something called, it's an interesting way of framing things up. And maybe you do it. You're going to have to see whether you do it. It's a story of me, the story of you, the story of us, and the story of now. And you'll find that lots of people, when they talk, if they're good at inspiring other people to action, they've actually followed that framework.
Yeah.
Like Obama's really good at it.
I was about to say, that sounds exactly like Obama.
Yeah, and it's something not just in public speaking, but in private speaking. That's what a lot of people do. So tell me your story. How did you get involved in this?
Well, I would say it really started with my love of writing. I've been writing since I was 4, and when I was 7, I published my first book, Flying Fingers. And since then, I've been going to schools. I talk to kids about why reading and writing is important, and I get them to do their own creative writing as well. And that really expanded my teaching, has become a big part of who I am, and so I talk to teachers, I talk to students, and I actually recently, are you familiar with the TED conference?
Yes.
So I was able to speak there about what adults can learn from kids was the topic, and so I've added kind of to my list of titles Youth Advocate because I believe that adults really can.
But you spoke about the environment?
Thank you.
Or
I was speaking more in general about what kids could do. I mentioned.
But now you're moving to talk about what? So now you're talking
why
more about the
Green
environment.
Festival. Yeah. Well, my family, we've always taken steps at home to limit our carbon footprint, and I've always been passionate about the environment. Before I haven't really talked too much about the environment, but now I'm a member of a site called Green My Parents, which gets kids to...
How does that work?
So basically 100 kids save $100 at their home by cutting down on water and electricity.
Nice.
So that's something I'm a part of, and I really kind of grown into the environment.
Do you talk about Green My Parents?
Yes, actually.
In your speech, are you going to talk about that?
Yeah, I'll be mentioning it, definitely.
And what is your goal with
Green our parents.
Yeah.
No, green our parents. But more broadly speaking, the goal of... you've moved into environment, obviously. Why?
I would say a lot of it is because I think it's an issue that, well, it's obviously important to adults, but it's also an issue that's really important to me and other kids my age because we're going to be growing up in this world. And I think that it's important that we understand it's our world and the steps that we can take to protect it.
Got it.
So I really hate to interrupt this amazing conversation, but we need to continue this on the main stage.
Oh, who's up next? Me?
You guys.
How many minutes will I be speaking?
You are going to do whatever you need to do to introduce what you want to say and Adora. Right.
What 3 things am I going to say about you, Adora?
That she's amazing.
Oh, maybe a little more specific than that.
What are the 3 things I should say about you?
I suppose. Never had to get quite that specific. I'm going to redirect the question. When you look at me, what do you think are the 3 things that are most important for other people to know about me?
See, but I need your help with that. That's nice.
That's good.
I need to help that. Well, what I've learned so far is that you're passionate about the future, you're passionate about communicating with others, and you've committed to taking action on it.
Great. You did a much better job of saying that than I would be able to.
Thanks everyone for coming, and it's really an honor to be here. I have the privilege of introducing Adora Svitak, who is 12 years old, a year younger than my daughter, who's 13. And, everybody has a journey in life. We all have had our own personal journeys, and we're getting to hear from somebody who's relatively early in the journey, but has already taken a lot of steps. It's clear that the younger generation views the environment differently than the older generation does as a whole. And I think it has something to do with Earth Day. I remember the first Earth Day, or maybe it was the first Earth Days, and where sometimes you have to argue with people about whether the economy and the environment go together, you don't have to make that argument with young people. That's not an argument you have. You know, how can it be good for the economy to poison Puget Sound? How can it be good for the economy to lose our salmon? How can it be good for the economy to have people with health problems because of pollution? How can it be good for the economy to literally change our atmosphere? That can't be. So you don't have these arguments with young people. For them, the environment must be integrated into everything we do. So we know this. But the problem is we're kind of set in our ways. We've done things a certain way for a long time, and change is really hard. So that's the good news, is that the generation coming up has a different set of values. So when I was talking to Adora before starting, she was telling me about a program she's involved in called Greening My Parents. Do I have the name right, Adora? Greening My Parents. Now, be careful with this. I just want to warn you about this. We have a great program here in Seattle called Undriving. You can get your undriver's license. I have my undriver's license. And it's great. And you have to make a commitment to get an undriver's license. I recommend you get one. You show it around. And my daughter, Mia, who's 13, got an undriver's license. The problem is she doesn't drive, so what could she commit to do? And she already biked to school. So I suggested, actually I shouldn't warn you, Adora, the suggestion here is don't necessarily listen to your dad when he makes suggestions. I said, why don't you say you'll get mom to bike more? And that made it into the next newsletter because they published the commitments, and I got in trouble with my wife to get it started. So be very careful about how you tell people to improve themselves. Now, by the way, I've kind of learned this as well as mayor. I suggested that maybe billions and billions of new dollars for massive highways that will be tolled, you know, that don't support transit isn't a good use of money. And I've made a few people upset with that. Really? Because they're kind of used to doing things the same way. But you know what? On that one, it's good to make people think hard and get upset a little bit. There are things we need to change, and we have resource decisions we need to make. We are in an era where we do not have the resources we once had. We have to accept that. We've been mining our natural resources. We've been, in order to feed our way of life, we have reached further and further into the oceans to drill deeper and deeper with consequences, horrible consequences. We've asked people to go deeper and deeper into mines to bring up coal for us to live off with consequences. You know, we are changing our natural resources in ways that we can't necessarily support. So we have to start thinking about, well, with the resources we have, what are the most important things we can invest in? And that's our people, you know, that's being thriftier. You know, it's not necessarily the big gray economy, it's going to be the new green economy. It's going to be the way that we build towards shared prosperity. And it will mean some difficult conversations, and it will mean we're going to have to listen. It's going to mean we're going to argue, it means we're going to disagree. But if we have that pathway to the future that we care about, or that goal we care about, we'll work through that, and we'll make the choices we need to make. I was really pleased to have the opportunity to chat with Adora at the beginning. I said, what 3 things would you like me to say about you? And she hesitated and said, well, you've been chatting with me, what 3 things would you say? And pretty easy. It was clever, right? That's good, right? Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So she's smart, we know that, right? She listens, she's inquisitive, but I learned 3 other things as well. She cares passionately about the future. She has found in herself that she is an advocate and wants to be an advocate. And she wants to talk to others about how they can work also to be advocates for what they believe in. And it's with great pleasure I get to introduce Adora to join us and give her presentation. Thank you.